So it's great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
I've been a big fan ever since you were on All My Children. So
Like 27 years ago.
yeah, don't remind me. It's too long ago, right?
I mean, crazy for me too. I mean, I don't like. I guess as I get older, all of a sudden I realize like what seems like yesterday was was like equivalent to like if I was 20 in 1990 talking about 10 years before my life. It's like, wait, that's, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, time definitely compresses as you get older, and I'm older than you, so it only gets worse.
Kind of negative about it, but I hear
So, how did your involvement in A Bachelor's Valentine come about?
I auditioned for the producers and director. It was they found me actually on Facebook, and they sent me the script and asked me to audition, and I read the script on the subway on my way home, and I just kind of it was just a sweet little script that it changed, like it just the mood of it changed a little, and towards when we finally shot it in a good way, like it just became more like I was going into it thinking it was actually going to be even more laid back than it is, kind of, and very more soft spoken. But I couldn't help sort of bringing my quirkiness and angst to it a little bit, and it ended up fitting into the character. And actually, the writer even said to me that like he said what I brought to the character was probably more him. Like he was writing one thing, but he kind of left out some of his angst and some of his and he was like, and you put it right back in there.
That's funny. Yeah, I watched it yesterday. I enjoyed it. The script, the writing was really good, and your acting was really good, and some of the other acting. I think it would have made a good TV series. Maybe they'll spin it off. That would be
Yeah,
nice.
who knows? It's actually I enjoyed playing the character so much that while we were towards the end of shooting, which was a relatively quick shoot, but I was like, this is the kind of character that I want to play. That I want to like. I don't want it to stop. This is
Right.
something
Sure.
I settle into for a few years. So it's and I guess I've had more experience with TV than movies, so it really is kind of a heartbreak when you connect when you're on a movie and you connect to something and you're like, okay, it's over now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
Not
well,
just
it's hard as a viewer too, because it's like we want to know more about all these
yeah,
characters in the
yeah.
town and everything.
As a viewer too, I mean, I'm often like movies are hard for me
Hmm.
because like if I don't connect to it, then I just like wasted 2 hours of my life. And if I do connect to it, I really want to see what's going to happen next week.
Hmm.
Like, typically, I'm way more into TV series lately than I am movies. Like
Yeah.
movies is like just a one night stand that's going to break my heart.
That's a good way to
But
put
but
it.
I mean, there's some great movies out there. But I'm just saying overall, I get really like there's some TV shows I start watching, and even in the first episode, I'm not quite really into it. But then you get to know them better and you're really into it. And then when the TV series starts being bad towards the end, I still watch because I really got going to happen to the character.
Right, you've invested all this time, you want to see what happens.
Yeah, it's like a relationship. It's like you're not perfect, but I love you.
I think with TV shows, what they do best is the character development, and that's what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
probably enjoy, and that's movies
yeah,
aren't always as good at that.
yeah. But fortunately, I mean, with this, it was the first time in my life really that I got to play the lead, like on every page lead of a film, and that made it a little better because there was time. I mean, there was really like you could develop an arc for the
Yeah,
character
definitely.
that made sense, and without just being like, okay, this is your one scene
Yeah.
that works. Trust everybody that it's gonna make sense in the movie. And so, but this was just a joy. Like I just with Lana Reed, the director, and Brian Dobbins, the writer, and uh, Layla Cushman, who played opposite me. Everybody was just it was like just going to small town America and just kind of disappearing for a couple weeks. And the funny thing is like really like, this is, I tell when people are like, well, what am I, friends of mine who wouldn't even normally watch this kind of movie, maybe they're like, what am I going to watch? I'm like, well, it's kind of, a light romantic dramedy kind of thing. It's like, well, I wouldn't usually watch that kind of thing, but I'm going to check it out because it's you. But, oh, what I was going to say, that's terrible. I forget what I was going to say.
It's okay. We can come back to it if you remember.
I had a point. I had a good point about something.
Something about not watching what you normally watch.
What I don't normally watch.
Watching.
So it'll pop up when I.
Okay. When we're done, you'll remember. I know.
Getting older, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah. As I said, it just gets worse. So they actually found you on Facebook. Did they watch some of the clips and things that you post?
I mean, I mean, maybe, but I auditioned for them, and they didn't just find. I mean, they knew who I was, I guess. So and they were just able to contact me directly instead of like going channels, and I just like the script, and I wanted to show up for it, and just have I mean, but show up for it, I mean, in a bigger sense. Like I wanted to really be there and be oh, this is what I was gonna say. I remember what I was gonna say. So with movies like this, you think, oh, that was easy. Like you're doing some dark tragedy, like it takes place during like the Holocaust or something. You're like that's gonna tear you up inside. And movie like this is gonna be fun. But I mean, if you really put yourself through what the character's going through, it's all relative, and in a way, it sneaks up on you because you're not expecting it to sort of hurt, but then just everything that he's going through, and the process of healing, and like I don't know, I was definitely like. And I guess because I hadn't done such a substantial role in like 15 years, so putting myself into that magical as if, like actors say, for that extended period of time and letting myself be this character, I definitely like felt it deeply.
So I know you posted on Facebook before about how much you love the character. And did I read that you said that you were kind of like the character? You're an actor, so you can't be that retiring, but then again, there are lots of actors with anxiety.
Oh no, I definitely not. Look, I'm surprised I became an actor. I was, when I was a kid, I would shake like a leaf. And I always get really nervous, and and I still do sometimes. I mean, I am an introvert. If there's any kind of diagnosis for that, I definitely am. But people misconceive what that means.
Right.
Not just someone who's really shy all the time or something. You definitely like to talk. You just want to talk about things that matter. And when you do it for a long period of time, it definitely wears you down, and you have to go hide away for a couple of days and get your energy back. Whereas an extrovert actually gets energy by being socially interactive, and they're very good at talking about surface things. Whereas introverts just don't want to be bothered. But yeah, I have anxiety. I mean, I don't know whether it gets worse as I get older, or maybe some things about it get worse, but a lot of things I learned to deal with a lot better, and I know how to deal with it better. When I was younger and I went to conservatory for acting training and stuff. I mean, I would leave the stage like thinking everybody must have seen how nervous I was. And everybody was like, "What? You were nervous?" I didn't say that at all. But I just learned to hold it in.
Right.
But it's been a year, it's been a life process of just trying to deal with that, and also try to figure out like originally I've been doing the painting and stuff lately. Originally, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an artist like that. I wanted to be an animator for Disney or something like that. And in a lot of ways, my personality probably suits to be behind the camera sometimes a lot more. But I but I love actors. I love what acting can do, and I love doing that, and I love being part of having my say in it and have being responsible for that part of the process of what this character is going to be
Mhm.
like. Obviously, I've had quite a few years that I haven't gotten to do that as much, and it is lacking. You should, you also need you find out that you need the release. You need
Mhm.
like some of us actors need, in real life you can't just, it's not safe to feel the emotions you need to feel in real life, but in acting you can go have this big fight, or you can have different things going on, and just let stuff out that in real life is just going to get you in trouble or ruin your relationship. Or it's good to, so it's a good release. And
Yeah.
this let me, I don't know, like, I mean, it's definitely, you see a lot of depression and anxiety and everything in this character, and I kind of laugh at it because some people are like, they'll point this stuff out and say, oh, you did that really well, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure how hard I was trying. I didn't do any research. I just kind of, I really went into this was a test for me in a lot of ways, to kind of, I wanted to show up, and without trying to figure out what I was going to do as an actor. I just didn't think I didn't want it to be that serious, but in a way it's more serious because I wanted to just trust myself. I wanted to
Mhm.
just, I hadn't done it in a while, and I just wanted to be in front of the camera and be myself and let all my quirks out and hold them back when necessary, and just find that balance, and see if I was enough, and trust that I was enough. And I ended up, liking what I did. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I can still do this.
That's good. If it helps your confidence, that's great. Yeah. I've read about a lot of actors who they say they're shy or they're introverted, and then being an actor helps them because they're being someone else. They're not being themselves. And in this, you were
Yeah.
trying to be yourself though.
I mean, you're letting all that show. I guess, like, if I'm at playing some, like, I mean, I've played my share of like a rapist or a bad guy, or it's like things that, like, I would never want to be in real life. But like like if you're just acting like some badass or something, and did you would never have the confidence or even want to do in real life, and yet that sort of feeds you in a way. And even when I was playing Rafe on Port Charles, there was certain things about that like it, you'd leave set, and there were things that you experienced, or confidence that you held, or just something that you went through that you carried with you for the rest of the day. And quite often with that character, it was positive. It made me, it did open me up. It's not like you're fake. I mean, some people would say, well, because you're just acting in real life, and I'm like, no, it's just, it's infecting you a little bit. It's like
Sure.
it's a good virus that's giving you a little infection.
No,
Something
that
else.
makes sense. I'm always trying to tell my husband because some people remember their dreams and some don't, and I usually remember mine and he doesn't. So when I tell him how upset I was by a nightmare or something like that, he doesn't get it. He's like, "Well, but it's not real," and I'm like, "But it's like it's real when you're in it." He doesn't get that, and I think it's what you're talking about.
For sure. It
Emotionally, at least.
can be can be very emotionally confusing, for sure.
Yeah. So, did had you worked with any of the cast or crew before this?
No,
They were all new to you? Okay.
mostly people from the Midwest.
Mhm.
From
I think one of the actors I looked him up and said he was an engineer in real life. The guy who played the lawyer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's an actor as well. But
Mhm.
yeah.
That's interesting. Did he talk at all about that, or I just thought it was interesting.
No, we talked about life. We talked about other things. I mean, I know
Right.
a little bit about his job, but not a lot.
Okay. I just thought it was funny. I looked him up and it's like, oh, it says he's an engineer and all this. I mean, I'm used to actors having like, their realtors or something like that, or like what you do, but I
Yeah,
guess you do have the occasional actor who got all this education and doing something else.
he has a life and a lovely family, and he still dabbles in acting, but he's definitely got a full-time job, doing.
Well, that's good. So it was filmed in Millstown, Ohio, right? Which is the actual name of the town in real life and in the movie, and the names of the places like the Swire Inn are real places as well, right? That's
Yeah,
very unusual.
right. So that's part of, I mean, this is like a local production, and part of like, they were able to those places because they wanted to be in the movie. Because so they would get the little like publicity plug or something.
Yeah, usually I don't know why they usually change the names of places that they film in. I mean,
well, some of it is, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I've heard in the past because they don't necessarily know. They're not going to read the script. They don't necessarily know what the movie represents, so they want to make sure their place doesn't get any negative.
Right. I can understand that. So when was it filmed?
At the end of last January.
Oh, okay, it's a while ago, and I think I read that you said it took about 2.5 weeks.
Approximately.
Wow, that's quick.
Quick, yeah. It all happened very quickly, but it felt like, I mean, for some reason it crossed over with. It was originally I was only gonna be there one weekend, but then it turned out I was weekend, so it's just you bond real quick. I mean, even going back to high school, I remember going away to some like acting camp for just like 2 or 3 weeks and feeling like you were friends for life after something like that. So that, I mean, that's part of what I was saying originally. It's just the heartbreak of just doing something like that that's so intense. Telling a story together, and then it just being, all right, guys, see you later, bye.
Yeah, and do you have any funny stories from the filming? Any behind the scenes things?
I mean, usually what happens, like, it's the same thing when I did soaps. When it's moving that quickly, you're just really focused on getting the shot. I can't really think of anything offhand.
Okay, I put you on the spot. I know.
Ask me these things in advance so I know coming
I know,
in.
I should have done that. Sorry. And is there anything else you'd like to share about making the movie?
Really at this point, like, I mean, when you make an independent film at this level and you don't know, you don't even know for sure, who knows if it's ever going to come out. I mean, when you go on IMDb, there's so many people who have tons of credits of movies you might never see.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of those and different instances, and you just don't know. So I'm just excited that it's available, and because this really was, like I said, I haven't done anything in a while, and now you kind of, on some level, like, I'm fine with the way I've aged. Everything's good, but I have aged, and this is like when I was in my late 30s, early 40s. I still kind of played a lot younger. Yeah. And then and now I just turned 53, and I feel like I look good for my age. I don't really care, but I still feel it's like I'm finally a man. And
you've grown up.
After all these years, I've grown up. And this was
some
just
people never grow up, so that's good.
Opportunity to just be on camera doing, people always like, what have you done lately, or what do you look like now, or what do and this was just my chance to be like, here I am. This is who I am now.
Okay. This is not really a question, but I know you're just glad people see it, but I'm surprised it's on Tubi and not, it seems perfect for Lifetime or Hallmark.
Well, it's not done with that process. This
really?
Isn't like, I mean, it's still going to eventually come out and someplace else, but this is just, I think, the original. They wanted to get, I mean, Valentine's Day just happened, and although I've been, and it's been pointed out to me by some people who saw it, friends of mine, that really thought it was going to be even more like a Valentine's Day movie, but they really played as more my story as the character and the healing, rather than it just being like, this has to be seen on Valentine's Day. And Valentine's Day also is not a day. It's not like Christmas, even though home fans watch Christmas movies all year round. But overall, you feel like you're going to watch Christmas movies around Christmas time. I feel like I could see a movie any time of year that has Valentine's Day in it, and it wouldn't really matter.
That's true.
That said, I think if it waited any longer, it probably should have then just waited till next Valentine's Day. So I'm glad it's out now. And I don't know, it kind of took me by surprise because I had no idea. Nobody told me. So Friday morning, all of a sudden I saw the announcement on Facebook and I was like, really? Okay.
Um,
So I just tried to get it out there. It's
right,
pretty
right. So
fan.
I know that you did a lot of theater in school. Have you done any since you started doing films and TV?
You know, off and on through the years, a little bit here and there. And
Are you,
not
are,
that I'm it takes a lot of work. And unless you're getting, I mean, early on, like after all my children, I did some in LA. But when you're doing that kind of theater, you're not being paid, you know, it's Broadway kind of stuff. But, you know, as far as professional equity theater, I have not.
have you considered doing any where you live now?
I've considered doing a lot of things, but we really all have come out of this crazy time in our lives with COVID, and things just now are starting to kind of feel normal again. So I recently switched management, and I'm just trying to get in the door more in New York City. And then I mean, this just happened like this week. So I don't,
Yeah.
so in the meantime, I go to my massage therapy job and I pay my bills and I talk to my daughter and live my life. And
She's adorable, by the way.
she's,
So, did you still keep in touch with any of the actors from All My Children, Port Charles, or other shows that you've done?
I mean, in passing, this might have gone, I mean, some of my life, I mean, some of the stuff, I don't want to get all deep and dark, so I'll say this with a smile on my face. Some of the introvert stuff probably affected a lot of my life professionally and friendships in that world because it was too easy for me to like not maintain relationships and friendships. So I'm not, I mean, there's some people like Darlene Tejero,
Mm-hmm.
who played Anita on All My Children. I speak to her, and she actually, if it ever gets made, the script I wrote, Jazz Makes a Movie, she actually has a part in that.
Great.
But overall, no, not so much. I mean, strangely, like I have a couple for like Stephanie Romanoff, who was on Models Inc. and was later in. I've spoken to her off and on through the years, but yeah, overall, I you know, I mean, I don't know what to say. When I see them, I talk to them, I know them, and we're
Yeah.
friendly. We all move around so much.
Right, right. Especially now, it's not like everything's made in LA anymore.
Yeah,
um,
but you know, sometimes you make great friends, and sometimes it just looks like you're great friends on camera.
right, right. Well, I actually met many of your colleagues from Port Charles. I went to the GH weekend back in '99 and 2001 during Port Charles time. You weren't there, but I got to see a lot of your other
Okay.
colleagues. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I didn't start till 2000.
Yeah, so that's probably why. I can't keep track of the years, like you said. It's like, I don't know. Everything seems like it's like the 1980s and then everything since.
Right.
For me.
Right. I try to think of like if I think of 2004, I automatically say 1994. What happened to the other decade?
I know. So anything else that you'd like to share with your fans? And you do have lots of fans who love you.
Thanks. I mean, it's funny. I'm pretty open on when I am on, you know, lately I've been trying to disconnect from social media because I find it to be burdensome quite often. Speaking of being an introvert, sometimes it's too much and it gets addictive and it feels like a job that it's not paying me and I'm wasting my. That being said, everybody who is in contact with me on specifically Facebook has always been so supportive. Now, it was really hard coming up in my career in the beginning when social media first started happening. People come into it with a certain idea about who you are.
Mm.
And I had to, so maybe that was part of the reason I was just more and more open. And that freaked some people out in the beginning because I wasn't this fantasy of what they thought I was. And
Mm.
what's really been great is over the years that there's been a huge chunk of people who have grown to really understand me. And now I have that relationship where they get it and they know
Mm-hmm.
me. You know, it's just they've been supportive no matter what. And I've gone through hell and back again, and I'll probably do it again. And maybe I'm there now. I don't know. but but they're there. They're there, and they seem like they just seem to have, you know, it's kind of amazing. Like,
That's great.
there's a bond, there's a relationship, but you know, and it's a it's a line you got to walk, you know, carefully because it's
Sure.
not just saying all that. It's not like you don't know me that well.
Yeah.
We do have other lives. We do have, you know, but I'm so thankful for them because there are times where you feel alone. I mean, it's as much as I hate social media for a ton of really good reasons. I think there's a lot of people out there who are really lonely, who probably wouldn't even necessarily have another outlet. People say, well, you get rid of social media, maybe they'd go make some real, and they
No.
wouldn't.
No.
In a room all by themselves, watching TV all day, and never having any social contact with anybody. And there's some ugly stuff that happens on social media, but there's also times where I guarantee you people out there have saved people's lives.
I'm glad you said that because I definitely agree with that. There was a time in the 90s when I was between jobs and I didn't, you know, have any real prospects. My husband was working all day. We had a little apartment and I didn't really know anybody where we lived. And all my friends were in San Diego or somewhere else. And I was going a little bit nuts, just watching TV, watching the soaps all day. And so when I got online, it was like, oh, good contact with people. I think we can all
And
relate to that now with the pandemic because when people were locked down for a time, it was like anytime they got to go out and see
then,
people.
but I'm just, you say in the 90s you were doing that?
Yeah, yeah, I'm older than you.
It was social media yet, but there was like message boards and stuff.
Yes, and that's what I got on first was local message boards, and then I got on services like Delphi and AOL and Prodigy, that kind of thing, and eventually, yeah.
I first started and I was on TV. The one, so it's great. I saw a great friends made, even with the whole like with the Rafe fans on Port Charles. There was a group of women who really got really close because of that. And I
Mhm.
went before Facebook existed. I actually called them. I didn't like the word fans because it was short for fanatics. So I said, call you friends of Rafe or something like that. So, but they all became really close friends. So that was the good side. The bad side is I would see like they would start telling us actors stay off there because before social media because people were mean.
Yeah.
Like people just say, I mean, whether it was your performance for the day and the way they say it, it's like it was like the worst critic in the world, just terrible. And yet, if they met you face to face, they would still be like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to meet you." And but you're like, "Why did you say that about me?" So like, all that.
Maybe they thought they were being helpful. I don't know.
Well,
But yeah,
the thing is, they don't think they're talking to me.
yeah,
All times on Facebook where people do know exactly who they're talking to, and they get really too comfortable
yeah,
sometimes. So there's two sides to everything.
definitely. And I think that's why a lot of actors stay off social media, or they'll be on it, but they won't read any comments because they don't want to hear what the negative stuff. And it's kind of hard.
My success would be to be at a point where I could shut off my phone for 2 weeks
Hmm.
and disappear and not have to think like, oh, I better stay connected because something might happen.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, I don't like that idea. I have to be connected. I'm way too addicted by now. I mean, I got on 94, so there's no hope for me at all. But no, it just seemed nice. It would be nice to go off back to Hawaii and lay on the beach for a couple weeks.
I disconnected from Facebook about 2 weeks ago, and then it all got confused, and I tried to get back on and I couldn't. So
Oh,
it was like gone for a second, and I was getting frustrated with certain things because I couldn't do anything. There was a lot of stuff that was all of a sudden blocked for me, and
mm.
I felt the addiction. I was like, oh, this is terrible. Then after a couple of days, realizing like I was paying attention. So it's, yes, it helps people from being lonely sometimes, but put it down occasionally and you get up and you look around and you take a walk without your phone and you think of other things. You look at life differently, and it's like no matter what you're doing, you want to eventually do the other thing.
That's true.
So
Well, the
you,
grass is always greener, right?
well, no, not like that. Like that. That's true too. But I mean, but not. It's not greener. It's just you need the balance.
That's true. That's
Can't
true.
so sucked into one thing, and that becomes who you are.
Yeah.
And you whole other thing that you're avoiding, that you're not dealing with, or that might feed you, might make you a better person, and you're not, and you're blocking something off by excluding that from your life. So all of a sudden, like this smartphone. The first time I ever got a smartphone, I got it later than most people.
Me too.
The first time, like the first day, I thought my head was going to explode. Oh my god, my emails, my all the time. I would just check it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No, it's all there all the time.
Yeah, I'm not quite as addicted to the phone as I am to the computer because I like the bigger screen and all that. But
Me right now, my phone is everything. I don't even have a
yeah,
computer,
yeah,
so it is my computer. So I can't really get rid of it because
yeah.
that's my computer.
Yeah.
That
I got my husband a cheap computer for like $300 for Christmas. So you might look on Amazon or
yeah,
on,
no, they exist, but I like Apple so much better.
oh well, yeah.
I've tried the regular laptops, and I just end up not like I don't know.
It's hard to switch to something that you're not used to. I understand that completely. I don't even like updating Windows, so I understand.
Yeah, Windows. I got one computer once. I forget it was Windows 6 or 7 or 8, one of those, and it was so weird. I was, what is this? I can't even open it. It's all like this.
Yeah, I did XP for a long time, and I didn't even do 7 because I heard so many bad things about it. And then I did 8, and I'm like, it's all right. That they make it so you have to upgrade because it's a security and they won't support it, and just try to buy a new computer
Yeah,
with the one. It's
we're all Matrix now.
they get that's right. They drag you kicking and screaming to the next level, whether you want to or not. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope you had a good time.
It's good to see you, talk to you in person, and I just hope, once again, it's available now on Tubi, and Tubi is a free service, and there's tons
Yeah,
of other good movies on there. You just have to deal with just a couple commercials. That's how it's free, but it's not like watching a movie on TV where it's commercials keep kicking in,
yeah, right. And
and
then,
uh, and it's just there's a lot of good stuff on there, including a Bachelor's Valentine, which I think a lot of people will like if they give it a chance. And so
yeah, no, it's good. I enjoyed it. I've certainly seen worse romantic comedies on places like Netflix, which you think, oh, Netflix gonna have the good movies, and
the
sometimes
thing is,
they're
I
terrible.
like tell you see that it's low budget. That's fine. That doesn't I don't mind that, but you also see the heart in it, and you see the investment of the characters, and whereas you could see something that all might be a little more glitzy and because it's on Netflix and stuff, but the you don't really feel what the characters are going through.
Right. And budget doesn't necessarily mean the script is good.
They're a little, they're a little more pretty, but doesn't mean it's as good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much. And I will let you know when it's up. It's hopefully within the next couple of days.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.